First contact under fire. The research vessel Stellar Seeker drifted silently through the edges of the Omega Nebula, its sensors extended like delicate fingers through the cosmic dust. Chief Scientist VYX Kotal stood at the observation deck, her translucent scales shifting colors with excitement as she studied the latest readings. The nebula's unusual radiation patterns had drawn her team from the prestigious Galactic Science Academy, despite warnings about the sector's proximity to restricted space. "Chief, we're detecting unusual energy signatures," announced First Officer Mira, her tentacles flowing gracefully across the holographic controls. "They don't match any known patterns in our database." VYX moved to the central console, her 4 eyes focusing on the readings. "Fascinating. The energy structure suggests advanced technology, but this sector is supposed to be uninhabited." She paused, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. Could it be from the restricted zone? The restricted zone. Even thinking about it sent shivers through her scales. The Galactic Council had declared the entire sector off-limits 5 years ago, citing the discovery of a potentially dangerous species. No official contact had been made, but rumors spread through the scientific community about a death world and its impossible inhabitants. "We should maintain our distance," Mira suggested, her tentacles curling anxiously. "Council regulations are clear about." The ship's warning systems suddenly blazed to life, bathing the bridge in crimson light. "Multiple vessels decloaking," shouted Security Officer Krell from his station. "Combat signatures detected." Through the observation window, 3 ships materialized from the nebula's dust. Their designs were unmistakable, raiders, the scourge of the outer territories. Their black hulls absorbed light like cosmic predators, weapons already charging. "Shields up," VYX ordered, but she knew the Stellar Seeker was no warship. Their shields were designed to protect against radiation and micrometeors, not military-grade weapons. The first blast struck them before their shields fully activated, sending tremors through the ship's structure. "Shield capacity at 40%. Krell reported, his exoskeleton clicking with stress. "They're targeting our engines." VYX's mind raced. They were too far from any Galactic Council patrol routes. The raiders knew this, of course, it's why they hunted these remote regions. Her team carried valuable research equipment and rare scientific materials. They would be worth a fortune on the black market. "Chief." Myra's voice carried an unusual note of desperation. "I'm detecting automated distress beacons. They're coming from the restricted zone. The Death World sector." VYX's scales shifted to a pale blue of uncertainty. The Council's warnings echoed in her mind, but their situation was deteriorating rapidly. Another hit rocked the ship. "Shields at 25%. Hull breach on Deck 3. Krell's report was interrupted by a harsh voice cutting through their communications. Research vessel Stellar Seeker, the raider leader's gravelly voice filled the bridge. "Power down your shields and prepare for boarding. Resist, and we'll crack your hull like a ceremonial egg." VYX looked at her crew, the finest scientific minds in the sector, now facing death or slavery at the hands of pirates. The restricted zone beckoned, its mysterious inhabitants their only possible hope. "Mira, broadcast on all frequencies, including the automated beacon's channels," VYX ordered, her voice steady despite her racing hearts. "This is research vessel Stellar Seeker of the Galactic Science Academy. We are under attack by raiders, requesting immediate assistance. We have 26 civilian scientists aboard. Please help." The raiders responded with another barrage, this time targeting their communication array. Sparks flew across the bridge as systems overloaded. "Message sent," Mira confirmed, her tentacles working furiously to maintain what remained of their communications. "But Chief, there's something else. I'm detecting an automated response from the restricted zone. It's in perfect galactic standard." Before VYX could respond, a new voice cut through their speakers, clear, confident, and unlike anything they'd heard before. Stellar Seeker, this is Earth Defense Force Command. We have received your distress call and are dispatching assistance. Please hold your position. The bridge crew froze. Earth. The Death World. They had just made humanity's first unofficial contact, and it came with a desperate plea for help. Chief, Krell's voice was unusually quiet. The raiders are launching boarding pods. Our shields won't last another hit. VYX stood straighter, her scales shifting to the deep purple of resolution. They had just breached every council regulation about contact with Earth, but regulations meant nothing if they didn't survive. Now they would learn firsthand if the stories about humanity were true. May the stars have mercy on us all, she whispered, watching the raiders close in. Because we're about to find out why they call it a death world. The impossible pilot. Lieutenant Sarah Chen was already sprinting toward the hangar before the klaxons finished their first wail. Behind her, the voice of Earth Defense Command echoed through Fort Armstrong's corridors, emergency launch protocols initiated. All personnel clear Hangar Bay 3. She'd been waiting for this moment, the chance to prove that humanity deserved its place among the stars. The fact that it came through a distress call from the very aliens who'd been watching Earth from afar just made it more perfect. Lieutenant. Colonel Hayes's voice crackled through her neural comm as she reached the hangar's security door. The X-37 Phoenix isn't cleared for combat deployment. Sarah pressed her hand against the biometric scanner, grinning as the massive doors slid open. With respect, Colonel, it's the only ship we have that can reach them in time. She didn't mention that it was also the only ship that could match her reflexes, a prototype built around her unique neural interface capabilities. The Phoenix waited in the center of the hangar, its silver-black hull gleaming under the emergency lights. Unlike the bulky ships of the Galactic Council they'd observed, the Phoenix was sleek, aggressive, a predator built by a predator species. Its experimental quantum drive hummed with barely contained power. The raiders will have heavy weaponry, Hayes warned as Sarah climbed into the cockpit. Council records show they've been hitting research vessels across 3 sectors. Good thing we don't fight like the Council, then. The neural interface activated as Sarah settled into her seat, the ship's systems merging with her consciousness. The Phoenix wasn't just a ship, it was an extension of her body, built to channel the same instincts that had kept humanity alive on their death world. Through the neural link, she felt the ship's excitement mirror her own. The quantum drive's crystalline matrix pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. Phoenix pre-launch checks complete, she reported, though the words felt redundant when she could feel every system as if it were part of her own nervous system. Sarah. Hayes's voice softened. This will be humanity's first official contact with galactic society. The Council doesn't even know we've developed this technology. Then let's make one hell of a first impression. The launch countdown began, and Sarah felt the Phoenix's systems surged to full power. Time to show the galaxy why Earth earned its reputation. The magnetic catapult engaged, and the Phoenix shot forward like a bullet from humanity's ancestral weapons. Sarah's enhanced nervous system, coupled with the ship's inertial dampeners, let her handle accelerations that would knock out any other species. Within seconds, they'd broken through Earth's atmosphere. Target coordinates locked, Sarah reported, watching the quantum drive's energy levels climb. Calculating jump trajectory to the Stellar Seeker's position. Remember your training, Lieutenant, Hayes said. No unnecessary risks. Sarah smiled as the quantum drive reached critical mass. Colonel, humanity didn't get to space by playing it safe. Before he could respond, she engaged the drive. Reality twisted around the Phoenix as it tore through spacetime in ways the Council had deemed impossible. The ship's AI, linked directly to Sarah's mind, calculated adjustments faster than any conventional computer could manage. They were pushing the boundaries of physics, just as humanity had always done when faced with limitations. The quantum tunnel collapsed, and the Phoenix emerged into chaos. The Stellar Seeker drifted ahead, its hull scarred by weapons fire. 3 raider ships surrounded it, their black forms exactly matching the intelligence reports Earth had gathered through covert observation. Sarah's enhanced senses, amplified by the Phoenix's sensors, took in everything at once. The Raiders' shield configurations, their weapon energy signatures, the damaged research vessel's failing life support, all of it fed directly into her consciousness through the neural interface. Earth Defense Command, this is Phoenix Actual, she reported, already plotting attack vectors that would have been suicide for any normal pilot. I have eyes on 3 hostiles and 1 civilian vessel in distress. Requesting weapons-free authorization. She could almost hear Hayes's internal struggle. This would change everything. Humanity's first contact would be through combat, showing capabilities they'd kept hidden for years. But the alternative was watching innocent scientists die. Weapons-free authorized, Phoenix, Hayes finally responded. Show them what humanity can do. Sarah's smile turned predatory as she felt the Phoenix's weapon systems come online. The Raiders hadn't even noticed her arrival yet, their sensors not designed to detect Earth's stealth technology. Their first warning would be when she introduced them to humanity's unique approach to space combat. Attention Raider vessels, she broadcast on all frequencies, letting them hear humanity's voice for the first time. This is Lieutenant Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You are hereby ordered to power down your weapons and withdraw. She paused for effect, knowing what would come next. This is your only warning. The Raiders' response was predictable, they laughed. The sound crackled through her comm system as they turned to face this new threat, their sensors finally registering the Phoenix's presence. 1 ship. The Raider leader's voice dripped with amusement. The Death Worlders send a single ship. Sarah's hands tightened on her controls, the neural interface translating her anticipation into combat readiness. That's right, she replied, feeling the Phoenix's weapons charge. 1 ship is all we need. The Raiders opened fire, and Sarah grinned. Time to show the galaxy exactly why Earth had earned its classification as a death world, and why its children had not only survived but thrived in such a hostile environment. The Phoenix moved in ways that violated everything the Council knew about space combat, and Sarah was about to demonstrate why humanity's reputation for impossible victories was well earned. Breaking all rules. The Raiders' first volley lit up space like artificial stars, a web of energy designed to trap and destroy any conventional ship. But the Phoenix wasn't conventional, and Sarah Chen wasn't a conventional pilot. Instead of evading, she drove straight into the barrage. The Phoenix's quantum-shifted shields, technology Earth had kept hidden, flickered with strange geometries as they absorbed and redirected the energy. On the Stellar Seeker's bridge, Chief Scientist VYX watched in astonishment as the human ship performed maneuvers that her species had calculated to be physically impossible. That's not how shields work, VYX whispered, her scales shifting to the white of pure shock. That's not how any of this works. The Phoenix spun on its axis while maintaining its forward momentum, a move that would have torn apart any Council-designed ship. Sarah felt the Raiders' targeting systems struggling to track her, their computers unable to predict movements that defied standard combat algorithms. Let me show you how we dance on Earth, Sarah broadcast, her voice deliberately casual as she executed a series of moves that made the Raiders' tracking systems crash and restart. The Phoenix's neural interface translated her combat instincts into action faster than conscious thought, moving the ship as if it were part of her own body. The Raider leader's voice betrayed his first hint of concern. What kind of ship is that? The kind built by people who evolved on a death world, Sarah replied, launching the Phoenix into a spiral that brought her inside the Raiders' formation. We learned something important back on Earth. There's no such thing as a fair fight when you're trying to survive. She demonstrated this philosophy by activating the Phoenix's gravity manipulators, another piece of technology Earth had developed in secret. Instead of using them for standard maneuvers, Sarah created localized gravity wells that pulled the Raiders' ships off course, disrupting their carefully maintained formation. Impossible, one of the Raider pilots shouted as his ship struggled against forces he couldn't understand. The council said humans were pre-FTL. The council, Sarah said, triggering the Phoenix's main weapons, doesn't know us very well. The quantum-accelerated particles that erupted from the Phoenix's guns weren't like normal energy weapons. They phased through standard shields as if they weren't there, striking the first Raider ship directly. The impact wasn't immediately visible, but Sarah's enhanced senses detected the cascade of quantum disruptions spreading through the enemy vessel's systems. What did you do? The Raider ship's captain sounded panicked as his systems began shutting down one by one. Applied physics, Sarah answered, already moving to engage the second ship. Just not the physics you're used to. See, living on a death world teaches you to think differently about problems. The remaining raiders finally realized they were in real trouble. They attempted to regroup, falling back on traditional combat formations that might have worked against any other opponent. But Sarah had trained against these very tactics, studying the recordings of raider attacks that Earth stealth probes had collected over the years. You rely too much on your technology, she commented, using the Phoenix's gravity manipulators to pull debris from the earlier battle into the raiders' path. On Earth, we learned to use everything as a weapon. The second raider ship broke formation, trying to flank her. Sarah responded by executing a maneuver at the Phoenix's AI labeled as 99.8% likely to result in structural failure in standard ships. The quantum drive flared, letting her appear seemingly impossibly behind the raider vessel. How? The raider captain's voice cracked. Your ship should have torn itself apart. Human engineering, Sarah replied, targeting his engines. We built our ships like we built ourselves, to survive anything. On the Stellar Seeker, VYX and her crew watched in stunned silence as the human ship systematically dismantled the raider fleet. Every move defied their understanding of physics and ship design. The human pilot wasn't just fighting, she was rewriting everything they thought they knew about space combat. They're not just surviving on a death world, Mira whispered, her tentacles writhing in amazement. They're thriving because of it. The last raider ship, its captain now understanding the true meaning of Earth's classification, attempted to flee. Sarah allowed herself a predatory smile as she triggered the Phoenix's quantum burst, a weapon designed specifically because humans had asked, what if we could weaponize teleportation? The burst caught the fleeing ship, its energy scrambling the raider vessel's quantum states just enough to disable its engines without destroying the ship. As the vessel drifted powerless, Sarah broadcast one final message to all channels. This is Lieutenant Sarah Chen of Earth. The raiders have been neutralized. Stellar Seeker, you are now under Earth's protection. She paused before adding, welcome to humanity's neighborhood. In Earth Defense Command, Colonel Hayes watched the battle telemetry with a mixture of pride and concern. The secret of humanity's true capabilities was out now, but perhaps that wasn't a bad thing. The galaxy was about to learn why isolation had given humanity time to develop in ways no one had expected. Phoenix Actual, he transmitted, prepare to assist the Stellar Seeker. And Lieutenant, well done. I think you just rewrote galactic history. Sarah's laugh carried through the calm as she maneuvered the Phoenix alongside the damaged research vessel. Just another day at the office, sir. Though I think our new friends might have some questions about how we define pre-FTL civilization. Trust across stars. The silence aboard the Stellar Seeker's bridge was profound as Sarah Chen's holographic form materialized before them. The human stood shorter than most galactic species, but there was something about her presence that made the space feel smaller. Chief Scientist VYX Kotel. Sarah addressed the lead researcher directly, her neural interface having already processed the ship's crew manifest. I'm Lieutenant Chen. Let's get your ship stabilized before those raiders decide to call for friends. VYX's scales shifted through several colors before settling on a cautious blue-green. You're actually boarding our vessel. The Council protocols for your species clearly state. With respect, Chief, Sarah interrupted gently, I think we're a bit past Council protocols. Her hologram gestured to the ship's damage readings floating in the air between them. Your life support is failing, and you've got a quantum cascade building in your engine core. Either we break some regulations together, or this becomes a recovery mission instead of a rescue. The directness of the statement, so characteristic of humans but shocking to council species, caused Myra's tentacles to curl in alarm. Yet there was something compelling about the human's practical approach. You understand our technology? VYX asked, her scientific curiosity overtaking her caution. Sarah's hologram smiled. We've had 5 years to study council and raider tech. Amazing what you can learn when everyone thinks you're just primitive death worlders sitting in isolation. Her expression turned serious. But right now, I need your trust. The Phoenix can extend its quantum shields around your ship, but your crew needs to lower what's left of your conventional shields first. The request hung in the air, heavy with implications. Lowering shields meant putting complete faith in this human who had just displayed combat capabilities that shouldn't exist. The Council warned us that humans were dangerous, Krell noted from his security station, his exoskeleton clicking nervously. We are dangerous, Sarah agreed frankly. We had to be, to survive Earth. But right now, we're choosing to be your best chance at survival. VYX studied the human's hologram, noting the strange mix of predatory readiness and genuine concern in her stance. The stories about humans had always emphasized their capacity for violence, but none had mentioned this other side, this willingness to extend help even to those who had kept them isolated. Lower the shields, VYX ordered, her scales settling into the deep purple of decision. The effect was immediate. A strange geometric pattern of energy expanded from the Phoenix, enveloping the stellar seeker in a field that seemed to bend reality around its edges. The ship's warnings began to quiet as the quantum shield stabilized their failing systems. Fascinating, VYX breathed, her scientific instruments struggling to analyze the technology. Your shield design, it operates on principles we thought were theoretical. Necessity breeds innovation, Sarah replied, her hologram walking to the engine readouts. When you live on a planet that actively tries to kill you, you learn to think creatively about survival. She paused, studying the cascading energy patterns. Speaking of which, I need access to your engine core. That cascade is building faster than I'd like. Krell chittered in alarm. Our engine core. But the technological differences are exactly why I can help, Sarah finished. Your systems are failing because they're designed to work in predictable ways. But humans? We specialize in the unpredictable. As if to emphasize her point, a tremor ran through the ship as another system threatened to fail. VYX made her decision. Grant Lieutenant Chen full access, she ordered. We've already broken every council protocol today. We might as well continue in the name of survival. Sarah's hologram nodded in appreciation. Wise choice. Now, let me show you how humans fix problems. What followed was a masterclass in human ingenuity. Through her neural interface, Sarah coordinated between the Phoenix and the Stellar Seeker's systems, using solutions that made the alien crew alternately gasp in horror and amazement. You can't redirect a quantum cascade through a gravitational lens. Mira exclaimed, watching Sarah's modifications with all 4 eye stalks wide. Actually, you can, Sarah replied, her hologram's hands dancing through the engine's holographic controls. You just have to convince physics to look the other way for a moment. It's something we learned during Earth's first antimatter containment experiments. But the energy requirements are being handled by the Phoenix's core, Sarah explained. Think of it as a temporary heart transplant for your ship. The aliens watched in fascination as the humans' unconventional solutions began to stabilize their vessel. Systems that Council engineers would have declared unsalvageable came back online, often operating better than before. You're not just repairing our ship, VYX observed, her scientific mind racing. You're improving it. Sarah's hologram shrugged. Old human habit. We see something that works, we immediately try to figure out how to make it work better. She paused, then added with a slight smile, it's partly why we survived our death world. We're never satisfied with good enough. As the immediate crisis passed, the atmosphere on the bridge began to shift. The alien crew found themselves asking questions not just about the repairs, but about Earth, about humans, about how a species could evolve in such harsh conditions and emerge not broken, but innovative. Is it true, Mira asked hesitantly, that your world has areas where the very air can freeze solid? And others where it's hot enough to melt lead, Sarah confirmed. We call those tourist attractions now. The aliens exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of horror and newfound respect. They were beginning to understand that humanity's classification as a death world species wasn't just about their physical capabilities, it was about their entire approach to existence. We've been so wrong about your people, VYX said finally, her scales shifting to the gold of revelation. The Council thought isolation would keep the galaxy safe from humanity. Instead, Sarah finished with a gentle smile, it gave us time to develop in ways you never expected. And now, thanks to some overeager raiders, the galaxy gets to decide what to do with a species that treats survival as an art form. Legacy of Hope. 3 weeks after the raider incident, the Galactic Council's emergency session chamber hummed with tension. Representatives from 100 species filled the tiered seats, their attention fixed on the unusual group standing in the center, Chief Scientist VYX Kotal, her scales shimmering with determination, and Lieutenant Sarah Chen, the first human to officially stand before the Council. You deliberately violated isolation protocols, Council Elder ZYX thundered, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. Made unauthorized contact with a restricted species. Who saved our lives, VYX interrupted, her scales flashing defiantly. And in doing so, revealed that every assumption we've made about humanity has been wrong. Sarah stood quietly, the Phoenix's neural interface allowing her to subtly monitor the emotional readings of every being in the chamber. The mix of fear, curiosity, and grudging admiration was exactly what Earth's psychologists had predicted. Wrong, another council member scoffed. They're death worlders who turned their hostile planet into an advantage. Everything about their ship, their technology, their tactics proves how dangerous they are. Dangerous? Sarah finally spoke, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. Let me tell you about dangerous. She stepped forward, activating a holographic display that showed Earth. This is our home. Where the ground can split open and spew liquid rock. Where winds can lift houses. Where the very air can freeze or burn you. And yes, we survived it. We mastered it. But do you know what else we did? The display shifted, showing Earth's medical facilities, its restoration projects, its humanitarian missions. We learned to heal. To build. To protect. Because surviving a death world teaches you more than just how to fight, it teaches you the value of every life, the importance of helping others survive. The chamber fell silent as Sarah continued, her words carrying the weight of humanity's journey. You see our weapons and fear us. But look closer. Our quantum shields. Developed to protect colonists from radiation. Our gravity manipulation. Created to stabilize buildings during earthquakes. Even the Phoenix's neural interface was originally designed to help paralyzed people walk again. VYX moved to stand beside her, a deliberate show of solidarity. In the 3 weeks since the incident, human engineers have helped upgrade our ship's safety systems. Their medical technology, developed to deal with their harsh world, is already saving lives in our outer colonies. Because that's what surviving a death world really means, Sarah added. You don't just learn to fight the hostile universe, you learn to make it better. For everyone. The council chamber erupted in murmurs as dozens of species processed this perspective. Elder ZYX's crystalline form shifted colors as he considered. And what of the raiders? He asked. Your display of military capability. Was a demonstration of protection, not aggression, Sarah interjected. The raiders are currently in Earth custody, receiving medical treatment and rehabilitation. Because that's another thing Death Worlders understand, sometimes the greatest victory isn't destroying your enemy, but showing them a better way. A new voice rang out from the gallery. The human speaks truth. It was a raider captain, one of those Sarah had defeated. Their victory showed us not just superior strength, but superior purpose. They fight not for dominance, but for protection. The chamber buzzed with increasing excitement as more representatives began to see the possibilities. Humanity's isolation had been based on fear of their potential for violence. But that same harsh evolution had created something unprecedented, a species that combined incredible capability with an equally strong drive to protect and improve. Elder ZYX raised his crystalline appendages for silence. Lieutenant Chen, your actions violated numerous protocols. But they also saved lives and revealed that our understanding of humanity was incomplete. He paused, his form shimmering. Perhaps it is time for the Council to reconsider Earth's status. We welcome that reconsideration, Sarah replied diplomatically. But whether you maintain our isolation or not, know this, humanity will continue to advance, to innovate, and to help others survive. It's not just what we do. It's who we are. The final vote was nearly unanimous. Earth's isolation status was lifted, replaced with a new classification, Protected Alliance Species, Development Level, Revolutionary. As Sarah prepared to return to Earth, VYX approached her one last time. You've changed everything, the scientist said, her scales shimmering with excitement. The Council feared what humanity might become, but they never imagined you'd become protectors. Sarah smiled, thinking of the long journey that had brought humanity from cowering in caves to standing among the stars. That's the thing about evolving on a death world, she said. You learn that the universe is harsh enough without making it harsher. Better to use our strength to help others survive. The Phoenix's quantum drive hummed to life as Sarah prepared for departure. Her actions had opened a new chapter in human history, but more importantly, they'd shown the galaxy a fundamental truth, that the same force that makes a species strong enough to survive a death world can also make them compassionate enough to help others thrive. As she guided the Phoenix into quantum space, Sarah smiled at the message displaying on her neural interface, hundreds of distress calls from across the galaxy, now being routed to Earth's defense forces. The Death Worlders were no longer isolated. They were becoming what they had always been meant to be, the protectors of a galaxy that was about to learn that strength and compassion could evolve hand in hand. The age of humanity had begun, not with conquest or fear, but with a simple act of protection. And that, perhaps, was the greatest victory of all.